Today we're going over the Mythic Banner for October 2025 in Fire Emblem Heroes. We'll talk about the new hero, plus briefly cover the 11 other units on the banner. For the second to last month before the end of Book 9, we're getting Mythic Heimdallr. If it wasn't obvious, then that probably means Volley and Alphador will be the double mythics for November to wrap things up. Before we get there, Heimdallr will be an annual mythic that boosts attack. She's a blue mage cavalier, and based on her boss enemy stats, she should be a min-maxed, low speed, high attack and res unit. Those stats shouldn't change much, but we didn't see them in the trailer, so we'll see. Now, for old skills, Heimdallr has Ice Wall because we do not have enough units with that skill. If you want the res scaling %DR special, then another source for you. Heimdallr's gimmick was pretty clear from the story maps, but she technically has gotten a new weapon. It ain't exotic, instead Heimdallr's decrypted a Mystic Gjallarhorn. This weapon is the same from the story, except for the first line here. If defending an Aether raids, at start of enemy phase, grants Foresight Snare to allies closest to the bottom of the map within 3 columns. Now, for the rest of this, it's all the same, I believe. If not in Aether raids, Heimdallr only grants Foresight Snare to the highest defense ally closest to the enemy team. For foes within 3 rows or columns, which inflicts -5 attack, defense, and res, and neutralizes field buffs for those stats. Heimdallr has accelerated specials and gets -1 cooldown every single turn. For combat, if above 25% health, she inflicts more attack and res debuffs equal to 20% res, and heals 7 HP after combat. Heimdallr then deals true damage and gets flat damage reduction equal to the number of allies within 3 rows or columns times 5. Have 3 allies in range for up to 15 true damage and 15 flat DR. Heimdallr basically provides low attack, defense, and res support from long range, and of course you get her signature status. Foresight Snare is pretty nasty. If the enemy attacks your ally with this status, you cancel their attack and end their turn. You inflict isolation and flash to make them helpless, and last, Foresight Snare will be disabled on your other allies. While this status will only work 1 time per turn, Heimdallr now gives it to 3 allies on the bottom of the row for your Aether Raids defense setup. You can get around Foresight Snare by managing to attack another unit since it's only active for the first fight. Saviors don't trigger it when they hop to an ally, but you still have to deal with said savior. Another option is to purposely use something like Emblem Lyn or her ring to attack from far away. They end their turn on the other side of the map, then you send the rest of your units to deal with the enemy frontline. Since you can't dance the snared ally, you can also use the new Shireenas. Shirena gets snared in ally attacks, then Shirena and the ally gets refreshed. There are some counterplays to the status, but that doesn't make it any less annoying, and if you don't KO Heimdallr herself, she's just gonna give it to another ally next turn. Heimdallr has a unique B skill, an open book. At start of either phase, she inflicts exposure, discord, and stall onto foes with less res than her that are near another enemy. Heimdallr gets Far Trace 4-type Kanto. For combat, she inflicts -5 attack and res, prevents a FOP attack, and inflicts guard. She has true damage and flat DR equal to 20% res, and last, she gets pre-impulses -1 instant cooldown before attacking. Generally speaking, besides Foresight Snare, Heimdallr is a fairly standard, slow special charging nuker. She gets free cooldown every turn and instant cooldown each fight. She can proc Ice Wall by turn 2, and she's going to get the 40% DR while stacking a few flat DR sources along with attack and res debuffs. Heimdallr has a couple basic tanking perks like FOP Denial and Guard, but she doesn't have insane defensive mechanics. Now something to watch out for is Heimdallr's stall against lower res foes that will make it tough to deal with Foresight Snare. Heimdallr has 2 inheritable skills. First, Attack and Res Aria is just another variant. This mage and healer skill can work on either phase and grants bonus attack and res equal to 7, plus the unit's max special cooldown value. When you trigger your special, you deal true damage equal to the max special cooldown value times X. For each cooldown count, you get 5 true damage. Unless you have brave attacks, then it's only 3 true damage. Attack and Res Aria should build out of Attack and Res Bond 3, which is on some free-to-play units. This is a decent mixed phase stat booster, but it's most effective if you're running one of the higher cooldown specials like Ice Wall or perhaps a new Comet special. At the very least, I probably wouldn't run it if you're going to go with the 1 cooldown slang specials. For her C skill, Attack and Res Hone Assault is new, but technically it's just a variant of Insight Hone. Each turn, grant +6 attack and res to allies within 2 spaces. Instead of Incited, Assault grants the 50% DR piercing status. The user gets bonus attack and res based on how many allies keep the status. If you buff 3 teammates, you get an extra +5 attack and res in combat. Hone Assault is inheritable by all Cavaliers. Unlike Outcry Dull or Bellow, this skill does not have bonus true damage. It pretty much is the true side grade to Insight Hone if you want easy to use buffs and DR piercing. In terms of combat, Heimdallr is fairly simple. She passively charges Ice Wall and stacks multiple true damage skills including Aria. Hone Assault provides DR piercing, and the attacker as buff would be nice for inflicting her B skills debuffs along with triggering Ice Wall's 40% DR effect. She is pretty slow and doesn't have crazy defense, but Heimdallr has flat DR, attack debuffs, and a Fog Denial to try and tank some hits. The main reason to get Heimdallr will be her support, long range low effects with Exposure, Discord, and Stall. With Foresight Snare, she can completely protect one ally in normal modes or up to 3 frontliners in Aether raids, although it only lasts for one fight. There are some counterplay options to this status, but any kind of turn-in gimmicks aren't very fun to play against. If you see this lady, you really gotta pay attention. For the rest of this video, let's cover the 11 other heroes on the banner. For red, we get Emblem Ike, Baldur, and 35th Annie Dual Marth. Blue has Heimdallr, Emblem Sigurd, and Holdr. Green has Heidrun, Attuned Leaf, and Melee. Colorless has Emblem Micaiah, Igdenir, and Legendary Sakura. For Emblem Ike's Ring, it provides 40% damage reduction if specials are ready, but only versus ranged foes. As a unit, Ike as a tank uses Lagu's Friend to pre-charge his Great Aether for % DR. Ike lets foes use all their attacks first and gets 70% damage reduction on consecutive hits taken. Should he survive, Ike has Distant Counter and knows he just with to fire back with a DR piercing special. After combat, Great Aether does deal out of combat damage and heals Ike based on enemies hit. Besides Lagu's Friend, Ike also comes with Defense Res Finish 4 and Conta Control 3. Mythic Baldur makes her first rerun. She's a Dark Mythic Speedy Sword Flyer who destroys the safety fence after any fight. Baldur can convert enemy field buffs into debuffs, and she applies Exposure. Fighting exposed foes gives her a 100% potent follow-up. Celestial Form is a speed-based % DR special for melee flyers. It gets stronger if there are special terrain tiles nearby, and Baldur does deploy 2 rows of flame tiles after attacking. With the % DR, Baldur can stack a crazy amount of flat DR if she doesn't fight a blue enemy. To warp allies and get into attack range, Baldur will have Attack and Speed Hold Guide. She can get Kanto, True Damage, and Flat DR via Blue Skies 4. Anniversary Dual Marth is back. He is also a speedy sword flyer who can give up to +7 field buffs, no panic, and the Fire Emblem status to double those buffs and neutralize weaknesses. Marth also gives +5 attack and speed, preempt pulse, and healing support to nearby teammates. For combat, Marth gets stronger the more field buffs are on his team. At max power, he can get a 100% potent follow-up, Vantage, Nelsie Disrupt, and Enemy Phase Desperation. His special has Distant Counter, and he can give 40% DR on all hits. He's got True Damage and Flat DR, DR Piercing, and no follow-up as well. For fodder, Marth also has Blue Skies with Speed and Defense Hold Guide instead. Blue has our new unit, Heimdallr, who we discussed enough already. For skills, you can get the very rare Ice Wall special, and Heimdallr introduces 2 new variants with Attack and Res Aria and Attack and Res Hone Insight. If you want DR Piercing over Insighted's extra stats, then it's better than Insight Hone. Back again is Emblem Sigurd, whose ring provides +1 movement and excellent Kanto. Sigurd gets 5 movement, which hilariously isn't counted by Stall, cause reasons. Sigurd will ride in to get full use of Momentum's True Damage and Instant Cooldown. He procs his Override AoE and can get an extra action if he tanks at least 2 enemies. Sigurd will have Fatal Smoke to stop healing and Attack and Defense Excel for extra flat DR protection. Considering we got a Momentum side grade before a second Momentum holder, be sure to get it while it's here. Like her sister, this is Hothr's first rerun. She's an Animal Mythic Blue Flying Archer. Hothr destroys the safety fence, plus it provides bonus Doubler, DR Piercing, and Attuned Micaiah's Penalty Cleanse plus Harsh Command support. She also has Attack and Res and Flat DR buffs for allies. Combat-wise, Hothr is very similar to Heimdallr, high Attack and Res unit who can pre-charge Ice Wall for nuking power. She has Attack and Res Mastery for Kanto and Attack and Defense Discord for additional debuffing plus true damage. For green, Heidrun is an Animal Mythic who provides her very strong Divine Nectar status. It counters Fatal Smoke / Deep Wounds, instantly heals 20 HP, gives 10 flat DR for 1 fight, and once per turn, allies can get an extra action after they use Rallies or Movement Assist. For extra support, Heidrun provides Attack and Defense debuffs, Discord, her own Deep Wounds effect, and the Anti-Miracle status. For combat, Heidrun is mostly just trying to survive with attack debuffs and flat DR. She has Attack and Defense Bulwark and Aegis for % damage reduction, and Stronghold gives flat defense and res, which Heidrun will use for her debuff application. Attuned to Leaf is a Greenbow Cav with high attack and defense. Leaf has simple stat support and has a Slaying Brave Bow with no guard. His special is a Bonfire type with a Norn Zeo Gale Force effect, except Leaf will not self-inflict gravity if he isn't near an ally. In cases where he is near friends, he will have a Warp Kanto to hop around them. For fodder, Leaf has Shadow Shift and 3 skills stoning on himself. Sturdy Flare is the attack and defense Divine Vein Flame A skill. Arc Forth Breath gives breath type cooldown and DR piercing specials for archers. Last, Sly Echo gives a player phase follow-up and 5 true damage if you have 2 advantageous statuses. The third green unit is Melee, who is a min-max tanky green beast armor. She has Ash's Guidance Warping and can warp around allies herself. Melee gives stat buffs along with times pulse 4 type support. She herself has Sling, plus defense scaling, true damage, and flat damage reduction. For skills, Melee has 30 Bs for percent DR and attack and defense fortune for easy transformations. She adds more true damage and flat DR, plus neutralizes debuffs with Slick Fighter. Last, you got attack and defense Briar Save for 30% damage reflection, along with a little more flat DR. For colorless, Emblem Micaiah is back. Her ring allows Rally and Movement Assist to heal and cleanse one ally, while also giving the user an extra action. Micaiah herself gets these same effects, but within AoE range. Her weapon also works off her assist to inflict -6 debuffs plus exposure. Micaiah will further debuff exposed foes. For combat, Micaiah's got her dual effectiveness and gets instant cooldown help from Silence Ward to charge her special for the first hit. She has full DR piercing and dominant style true damage. For other skills, Micaiah uses Crystalline Water to stack flat resistance for attack and Havoc's debuffs. Silence Ward can share instant cooldown and no-see disrupt with allies. It's an interesting mage skill, although not available for Mage Cavaliers. Next, Mythic Heimdallr is an Astro Mythic who adds +3 to any field buffs on nearby allies, and he gives the regular bonus Delver status. For combat, Ake always transforms, self-cleanses, and gets a bunch of true damage and flat DR based on field buffs. He can stack a ton of debuffs as well if he wins attack and defense stat checks. With Slang and Beast Threaten, Ake can pre-charge the DR piercing, Fierce Beast. He has attack and defense excel for more flat damage reduction when initiating. Last unit for today is Legend Sakura, who is extremely potent. Her salvage status can give allies Kanto 2 and counteract Kanto control. Sakura can then rescue allies using Kanto with a ridiculous warp range. For more support, she gives Ice Lock for ice tiles, and Call to Serve can give allies low +5 true damage. Sakura gives a variety of general buffs to allies with salvage from any range as well. Now, despite being a healer, Sakura can also dish out some damage with Sway Tag and Speed, being a Wrathful Staff healer A skill. She can get enough cooldown to proc Holy Pressure on a double, and Sakura even has 50% DR piercing. Heimdallr might be able to stop one attack with Foresight Snare, but if you can get around that, then units like Sakura can open up some pretty crazy hit and run tactics. Do beware of Korn's Vert Terrain. It does prevent warping using salvage, but you can get around this if the user has pass, like a certain axe-wielding little girl. That's all I have to say for this monthly banner. Heimdallr is laying out her traps, and we most likely are going to get Volley plus Alphador next month to finish off Book 9. After that, probably another Emblem hero for December, and we're in the holiday season, so expect all kinds of fun bait being thrown our way. Thank you for watching, good luck with your summons, and I will see you in the next video.